Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with 10 wacky knockoffs from all kinds of different Transformers lines, and I'm gonna go through them with you guys. We got Beast Wars stuff, we got Beast Wars 2, we got Cyber Battalion, we've got classics. It's pretty spread out throughout the entire line. But I'm gonna go through them one by one, show them to you. Plus I'm gonna show you the toy that they are based on, so you can actually compare. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are the same size. It's pretty wacky. So that's the plan, but first, check out the title. Be right back. I told you I'd be right back, so I'm gonna put some of these over here so we can concentrate on one at a time, and some of these guys can fall over. But the first one we're gonna take a look at is a version of Optimus Primal. And Sky loves Optimus Primal. As you can see, as soon as she heard his name, she came up here. Or either that or she wanted to say hi. So this is an oversized version of the Bat Primal that I got from AliExpress. So we are going to get it out of its packaging now. A lot of these are already out of their package, but not all of them. This one says Beast Wars. So I needed to show you that because that's fucking hilarious. It's made by Ming Kai, I have no idea how to pronounce that, but they fight for victory. And you can see on the back, they have a whole bunch of other ones. They do have a Chimp Warrior, which looks very similar to one that I've had for years. They have a Black Ops Warrior, which is basically Onyx Primal. Lobster Warrior, Renaissance Warrior, Bee Warrior, Bees Warrior actually it says. Fast Knife Warrior, Crocodile Warrior, which is the Megatron Crocodile style, and the White Tiger Warrior. But let's pop this out. Wahaha! Now this is not plastic-free packaging, so there he is. You can see him in his packaging. He's the Bat version. I don't see instructions, but this guy is pretty simple to transform. I don't know if any of them come with instructions. Don't need that. It also has a little strap. It's like a metal wire. Yeah, this feels more metal than a lot of the twist ties. There he is. Let me get his two swords out, which are held in only by tape. Now the swords are curved. They're kind of like scimitars, which I always thought was cool. And of course, they store in the wings or attached to the wings. But there he is, and he fell over. I mean, to be honest, the original Optimus Primal sometimes would fall over too. Speaking of which, here is the original Optimus Primal. And I'm gonna put his swords in his hands, which are not blue, which the knockoff has, but in fact are gray to blend in with the wings. But as you can see, the knockoff is significantly taller than the original Optimus Primal. Now this one, if you're not that familiar with Beast Wars, he came in a 2-pack. He was a bat, Megatron was the other character, he was an alligator. They were basic sized, auto-transforming, spring-loaded. I don't know that this is spring-loaded, we'll find out. But from feet to head, he's slightly over 5 inches, a little bit taller with the wings there. Whereas the original, even with the tips of his wings, it's like 4 inches. So he's a little bit taller, obviously. Now, interestingly, you can see on the back, there is no lever here, so it's not an auto-converting. The original has the lever because it auto-converts from beast mode into robot mode. But I imagine the transformation is the same, you just have to do it a little bit more manually. Now, deco-wise, this one apparently does have painted eyes and nostrils. They're red, whereas the original has yellow eyes and no paint on the nostrils. This one doesn't have painted teeth, this one has white painted teeth, it looks like. So, some deco changes, plus the red that's on the shins, little shin loops, is not present on this knockoff. But he's got like a silver detailing around his waist, which this one does not have. So they're similar. He's also got silver on his shins, or sorry, his forearms, whereas this one has red forearms. So they're both interesting. Face-wise, the faces are painted differently. This one has more of a silver face all over with red eyes. This one has the yellow eyes with more blue into the face. It's hard to tell, but the faces look identical, though obviously different sizes. All right, posability, I mean, same posability as any basic. He's got the ball joints. You know, if you have the Optimus Primal Bat, then you know he's got the ball joints here. He can go off to the side. He can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, not toes, well, he can do toes up if you turn at the knee. But because of this, he basically can stick him in the ground like a yard sign. Woohoo! But he can obviously knee kick. He does not have ankle rockers. He's based on a Transformer that didn't have them. Shoulders are a ball joint, as are the elbows, so you have a good range of motion. Obviously, you can't go too far back, right, Sky? Because of the wings. but bends at the elbow, swivels, all that. The fists don't turn, of course. The head does not turn either, and there is no twisting at the waist, just saying. But that's pretty much on par with the original. So he's a little bit bigger. One thing that's interesting is there is a joint on the original's feet, whereas these feet do not have a joint. So that might affect the transformation slightly, but it's not gonna be a big deal, is it, Sky? No. All right, let's check out the beast modes, because we got 9 more of these motherfuckers after this one. So one thing I'm noticing about this knockoff, it doesn't have the spring loaded, and you actually can't transform him the exact same way. I've kind of folded up the legs here and put the arms down so he looks like a bat from the top, but it's not the same transformation. He doesn't have the same way of changing into this bat mode. He does have a mouth that opens, so he can bite, right? Of course, you would get very affectionate while I'm doing the video. But there it is in bat mode. I mean, you kind of got to finagle the transformation. The original, I think the springs are given out a little bit so his head doesn't actually stay all the way back the way it should. And it looks similarly ugly on the bottom, but also has a mouth. So the knockoff, I will also say that you got to be careful. The weapon storage, they were popping off left and right for me when I was transforming it. So right now they're behaving, but it is a cheap little bat. But yeah, slightly different way of transforming it. And there's no instructions, so I don't know if this is the way you're supposed to, but there you go. Bat Primal, the larger. It's not too bad. Well, you might as well do the other Optimus Primal. This is a scaled down version, so now we have in the opposite direction of Optimus Primal. His head is white instead of blue. I think he has another sword somewhere. I just don't know where it is. And he's got the flail. He does not have the same missile launchers and everything. So he's a little simplified, but he is Optimus Primal with a white head. Now the Primal I'm putting him up against to show you, this one is actually from the Beast Wars Reborn line, I believe. I think it was in the 2-pack with Megatron. It's been a long time. I think I have the Megatron that doesn't have the flaps on his head somewhere. But as you can see, considerable difference in size. Now, the Beast Wars Reborn line, they made the Optimus Primal with gray, which matched more the show, whereas with this knockoff, they went more for the toy as far as having the black. But again, obviously no blue head or anything like that. This guy is about 6¼ inches if you count all the way to here, whereas the Beast Wars Reborn, which is the same size as the original, I just didn't feel like breaking out the reissue that I have. I still have it in box. So it's the same size. This guy's about 8 inches tall. So 8 inches, huh? And of course, this one has all the gimmicks and stuff. He's got the flail inside his arm and missiles and missile launchers, and those can whip around, where this guy does not have that. This guy does have the mutant face. It's kind of tricky to turn the robot head, though I think it's possible without actually popping off the mask, but it's there. You can turn it around and you have the mutant face. Mutant faces were something that they put on a lot of the early Beast Wars, and then they got rid of them later on when they started doing Transmetal and Transmetal 2 and all that stuff. And of course in later versions of the toy. Now as far as posability, it's identical. He can't quite do a full, oh, he can. I was wrong. He can do a full toes up Jean-Claude Van Damme. He can bend at the knee, kick out to the side. He does twist at the waist, though you just gotta watch the knees if you wanna twist it all the way around at the waist. But that twists, which is in line with the original. The arms, again, they can go all the way around, swivel out, bend at the elbow. Fists don't turn, but neither did the originals. Head, as you can see, can turn. Now you'll also notice that this beast face doesn't flip in. So he has the angry monkey face gorilla. I know they're not monkeys, they're apes. He has the angry ape face on his chest, so it doesn't flip around like that one. But otherwise, I mean, he's pretty much the same in a lot of ways to the original Optimus Primal, just missing the gimmick that brings the missile launchers out front. He doesn't have extra missiles, and I'm pretty sure he also doesn't have the flip out missiles from the hand, but not a bad version. A little undersized, but not a bad version. I accidentally launched a missile and Sky went after it. If you could bring it back, that would be great. I don't think she's gonna bring it back though. She's not a dog. But yeah, he lacks the spring-loaded switch there. Also lacks the ability to flip these up so there's no weapon storage there. And looking at his forearms, they don't look like they open up, so there's no weapon storage for the flail either. But he is a scaled down version. Can't expect too much. All right, beast mode. Now, if you're familiar with Optimus Primal, there's not a ton. I mean, the transformation is not very complex. I've had this for a long time, so I don't remember if it came with instructions. But there he is as an ape. Now, what is nice about the original and the reborn version is that you can store all the weapons in his beast mode. That was one of the great things about Beast Wars. And of course, he has the flail in his forearm. But other than the lack of weapon storage, you pretty much have the same thing, of course. You have this little gimmick in the original and in the reborn version where you can flick the switch and it spins his forearms. I think they could also be used to like beat his chest, something like that. But still, not a bad little knockoff. I will link to a version of this. It's probably about 17 bucks. I think it's the same line as the Bat, so might be a little more. I'm not sure. I'll find one, I'll link it. All right, let's get away from the beasts for a moment and check out this Starscream. Yes, this is a knockoff of Starscream. I got him for like 9 bucks at a local shop. I've seen him at on AliExpress, I'm pretty sure. So I will link to that, or you can try your own local toy stores and give them some support. Yay! Now this version is based on, and it's a little bit oversized, on the Thrilling 30 Starscream. So you can see he is a little bit bigger. The deco is definitely different. The official Starscream has darker guns, has more paint apps. The wings are painted, has Decepticon symbols, obviously. This one doesn't. Darker gray than this. This is a lighter gray. But it's pretty much identical otherwise. Posability, full toes up Jean-Claude Van Damme, bending at the knee, can go off to the side, do calisthenics. Arm goes around. There is no twisting at the waist. The head also is kind of stuck in there and you can't really turn it, unfortunately. But the arms bends at the elbow. You know, it's basically modeled from a kind of basic core class style toy, whatever they called it back then. And obviously if they were getting into a fight, he's bigger, you never know. But this Starscream, the official one, has something that one does not come with, and that is Westminator, very happy to be here. Oh shit, big guy. He transforms from a little itty bitty robot into a bee, and he's also like a target master. So if this Starscream is lacking firepower to defeat his large counterpart who's trying to take over for him, you know, he's got a target master gun who, I don't know, shoots venom. I don't know what this Wazmaneer shoots. Stuff. Please, no, don't shoot honey in my face. That would be horrible. But still a very cool version. Now, as far as the transformation into vehicle mode, identical. Now, one thing I have to say about, you know, the Thrilling 30, I mean, obviously this was also the basis of the Cyber Battalion one, because the way the arms go are pretty much the same. The nose cone and everything. So if you ever wondered where they got the Cyber Battalion designs from, well, they pretty much did it from these small Thrilling 30 ones. But as you can see in jet mode, they are, again, identical in form, but obviously the official one has Decepticon symbols, paint apps, blue tail fins, and rudder. I don't know, I'm not a pilot. Whereas this one is just gray, you know, but it's not a bad version of the toy. And it was 9 bucks. Speaking of Cyber Battalion, this one is a knockoff of the Cyber Battalion Megatron. This is the US release Cyber Battalion Megatron. This is actually from the 2-pack that comes with Optimus. You can find it on Amazon. I'll put a link to that too. But there are some differences. Obviously, this one's a darker gray. This one actually has metal. Some parts of it are metal, like the chest is hard to hear, but can't hear it, but it's die-cast metal. The deco, this one is glossier, shinier. I kind of like how shiny he is compared to this. It might be hard to tell in the lights, but this guy is definitely glossy. A little bit of deco differences. Obviously, Decepticon symbol. There's some weird symbol. I'm not even sure what it is. That's on his chest. It's almost looks like a Transformers symbol, but has some ECM letter, something like that. I'd have to look really close, which I am prepared to do. No lettering, I'm wrong, but it's some weird Transformer type face, which I'm gonna actually take a picture of so you can see it. It's a Transformer style face, but it's definitely not Autobot or Decepticon. A little bit of deco difference, coloration on the weapon, but otherwise they're pretty much identical except for the material. And he was like 12 bucks. So I mean, on par with the pricing. I think it's like 20 something for the 2-pack, so they're similar in price. This one just has die-cast. He looks a little more badass. You can definitely put a Decepticon symbol over that. Now, just like all the Cybers, they're again based on these small guys, but you can hear the ratcheting. It's nice, good tight joints. Full toes up Jean-Claude Van Damme, though, you know, he kind of flops forward. But obviously the legs go out to the side. They bend at the knee. There's no ankle rockers. Actually, the feet, that's part of the transformation, kind of flip out, which is the opposite of the ankle rockers. Though, because of the width of his feet, you can pretty much stand him pretty wide and he'll stay. No twisting at the waist. There's no swivel on the legs, so you can't do that. That's just like the Cyberverse. Arms go all the way around, bend at the elbow. No swivel, which is unfortunate. And the head itself, though, does turn, so you can look around and then decide to just, since you can't swivel, just have to turn that way and shoot somebody. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. No, I am Megatron. Bastard! Yeah, so very much identical in size. They're both 7 inches tall, 18 centimeters according to AliExpress, because that's how they do it. And the back of these guys, it's a little hollow. I mean, it is based on, again, basic size toys. Transformation, as you might imagine, is identical and not too complex, though you do have to line up shit. I mean, I imagine that some people are like, oh, these Saber Battalion guys are so simple and stupid. But I kind of like the simplicity of the transformation and the scaling of them, and they look pretty badass. There they are, both in their tank modes. You can elevate the turret. You can change the elevation, but they don't turn from side to side, so they just have to drive that way. Or you could use your imagination, haha! But again, identical. This one, again, just has some metal, and it's a little bit shinier. I would say the shininess is more on the metal piece in this mode. This is maybe slightly glossier, but you can definitely tell with the metal piece. And you can see on the sides, the treads and the back piece, you know, are a little bit shinier, so. But again, very cool. 12 bucks, not bad. All right, let's dive back into the Beast Wars for a little bit, because we have this very patriotically colored version of LioConvoy. This is a knockoff I got a while ago. I've been waiting for the proper time to show it to you guys. And again, it's in scale, pretty much the same size as the original LioConvoy. Identical in transformation. Doesn't have the gimmick you can actually see here. It has the holes for the gimmick, so they use the same mold, but they don't actually have the mechanism. So while you might be able to spin it, it doesn't seem to want to spin that easily. I don't think it's meant to spin, so I better turn it back around or else transforming it's gonna be a bitch. It doesn't spin freely. You can turn it if you want to, but he looks pretty much the same. The original LioConvoy has this little, open it up and you can look at my heart, little port there for R2-D2 to plug into and reprogram him. That's what it looks like. Crossovers! These missiles are always a pain in the ass. As you can see with the knockoff though, he does not come with these missiles or missile launchers. He comes with these weird, almost Energon style weapons. He's got this sword and it doesn't fit in his hand too well, I have to say. The axe fits much better. It's like they had some extra weapons lying around and said, well, we're not giving him the missile launchers, so we might as well give him something. And yeah, the sword is kind of loose in his hand. The axe is much better, but very much looking like Energon style weapons. Now, it looks like this should open, but it does not. So you can't plug in and reprogram him. This is all plastic. It feels slightly less quality than an actual Hasbro toy. Not the worst thing I've ever come across, but definitely not as good plastic. He does have, though they're not spring-loaded, he does have the paw claws that can come out. But this Patriot Convoy, just a fun alternative, a fun little additional Prime in the days of Beast Wars 2. This guy cost me about 15 bucks. Like I said, he's not bad. It's an interesting coloration, and he is about 9 inches tall if you count all the way up to the top of the mane. But let's check out his beast mode. Now, obviously, there's no weapon storage for these Energon weapons, whatever they are. And though it's the same mold, I have to say, the transformation seems a little clunky. Like, they didn't put as much flexibility in the arms to flip underneath the mane and all that stuff. But overall, for the price, it's not too bad. And he's got the claws that come out. You can see in the forearms where there should be space for some kind of launcher. And he even has when you flip forward the main, the little peg for the missile launcher that he uses in his beast mode. But yeah, I'm not gonna mess around too much, and I'm not gonna transform the other one because I already did that in another video comparing him to the new Leo Prime. And this is gonna be long enough that my editor is gonna be mad anyway. So not bad, but quality-wise, definitely, if you want a LioConvoy, go for LioConvoy. If you want a fun little extra guy, it's not a bad thing. Again, I'll put a link in the description for him, so you can potentially get him. All right, super cheap. This guy, I think cost me like $2, $3, and I think I overpaid. This guy is a knockoff of, well, I'm guessing Swerve, not geared. And he's oversized slightly, 3 inches as opposed to 2 1/4, but not painted in the face. It really feels cheap, but I did want to show it to you anyway. He does have problems standing. You got to put him carefully there and just hope that no one knocks the table. Hey, he stayed. But you can see he does not have a lot of detailing. He does have chrome on legs instead of the white. The coloration is obviously a bit different. It's more of a white truck. And again, he's a little bit bigger. Obviously no rub sign, no Autobot symbol, no stickers. I mean, I'll put a link to this guy. There's also a pipes, and since I don't have the original pipes to show you against him, but he fell apart. So transformation into vehicle mode. I'm not gonna go through the posability because he's got the same posability as Swerve. He can move the arms and you can bend the legs a little bit. Looks like he's running, but he can't stand that way. But there you go, a quickie. Not that kind of quickie, Logan. Cheap, but you know, cannon fodder potentially. I've done crappy knockoffs before. All right, so we've gone through 6 so far. Time for Hot Rod. All right, this is a knockoff of Hot Rod. This Hot Rod is the Combiner Wars Rodimus mold, so he's not really technically Hot Rod, but he's oversized. You can see this is the actual basic Rodimus from Combiner Wars chasing him. Obviously in a fight, it's David versus Goliath. This guy is, to the top of his hood, 4.5 inches, whereas this guy's like 3.5 inches. So he's got a good inch on him, and proportionally he's bigger. But it's actually, this was $9 at my local store. Again, I think I've seen some on AliExpress, and I'll link to them. He actually feels like pretty good quality, very similar to the original Hasbro. Toes up, full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Let's put your weapon aside so they can see your pretty ugly face. There you go. Legs move around, bends the knees. They can swivel because of the ball joint. Arms has kind of a ball joint, just even with the original. It's attached through this pin and this little thing here, so I wouldn't be too rough with it, but it can go all the way around. Does not twist at the waist, no twisting, but it can swivel because there's a little kind of ball joint type. I don't even think it's a ball joint, it's just a nice little joint there. So he can do that. His head can turn, you know, pretty much identical in mold to the original, just a brighter shade of red. The deco is pretty much the same. He does not have the Autobot symbol on his shoulder. But yeah, he's a kind of cool version of, oversized a little bit, of Hot Rod, and his arm just fell off, but it's the same type of joint as here. I could pop this arm off too, and I'm not going to. As far as vehicle mode is concerned, transformation is identical to the original, just it's bigger. And of course the weapon, axe, is proportionally larger and goes right there as a spoiler and a weapon. And he's about maybe 4.5 inches tall. Doesn't, the wheels do move, but it more slides on this surface. If you put it on a rough surface, you can make the wheels go, but it's pretty much on par with most of the Siege stuff, and you know what I'm talking about. If you've tried to roll any of the newer toys, they don't roll that well. Oddly, transforming the larger one is a little bit easier than the smaller version, just as far as getting things in place. The transformation obviously is identical, and the cars are pretty much identical. Of course, brighter red. You know, you can't really see the Autobot symbol in this mode on the actual Hot Rod. I'm surprised they didn't put one on his chest, which could have, you know, or right here for his hood. The weapon is actually a little bit shinier and brighter yellow. Deco looks the same, though the yellow is, again, a little bit brighter. The silver, about the same, looks the same on the bottom. But yeah, $9, not bad. All right, a few more to go, and we're going with another packaged one. So this guy is similar to the ones that I already reviewed, but a different mold. This guy looks like a Combiner Wars, I believe, version of Outback. I didn't know if he has the Australian accent. The one thing he has that the other one doesn't is a weapon. And looking at this weapon, holy crap, that's like a gun, bayonet, sword. I mean, you can really do some damage with that fucking thing. Mess somebody up real bad. He does come with the shield top thing, which goes into his fist apparently, a little loosely. Both weapons are a little loose. So there is the original, so this guy is a little bit oversized, but he also does not have the post holes on the sides of his arm to actually put the shield as a shield. It can't go here on the side of his arm, which kind of sucks. It looks like you can just, you know, as you can do with the original, you can plug it into the back to kind of just store it if he doesn't want to carry it at the time. He just wants to murder and mayhem people. It's murder and mayhem, that's not really a verb. Well, murder is. Mayhem people. So this one, which I got on Amazon, and I'll provide a link for it, he's a little shy of 5 inches, whereas the original is a little shy of 4. But posability wise, I mean, he does feel loose. If you saw my other review, I mean, these guys are not the best, but he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme and roll at the same time. So, whee! But the legs, they actually feel a little bit loose, but they are posable. Bends at the knee, goes out to the side. The arms can go all the way around. I'm gonna get this out of the way because I'm gonna put my eye out. So the arms go all the way around. The head does not turn. Then again, well, the Hasbro one turns. So let's see, try it again. Nope, this one does not turn. So in addition to not having the holes in the forearms for the shield, the head doesn't turn. And you can see him in the back there with the shield on his back, just like Captain America. We can take that off. This one takes a little bit longer. You can see they're pretty much identical. They both have holes. Everybody has holes. But in this case, on their back. Now, the original Combiner Wars opens up. You can put a little Titan Master in there or something. This one does not open. So again, differences, but he's kind of like a cross between Outback and Hound with the coloration. And he cost me about 13 bucks. Again, I'll put a link for you. And he does have this weird ass weapon. Transforming him very simple, just like this version of Outback. I don't think you can get stakes with this Outback, but, and again, the quality doesn't seem wonderful on it. It's not too horrible, but it's a cheap knockoff for 13 bucks. Now the original Outback has heels that fold in. There were no heels on this one. Of course, it has a tire on the top with the little headlight. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. No weapon storage for this thing, but not bad for 13 bucks. Again, cannon fodder. If you want to set up a diorama of Autobots that have been less than successful in their valiant attempts to stop the Decepticons. Now you can also put it on the back. I'm not sure, which is probably where it goes. Now this one connects the same way. So yeah, that's the proper way to do it. It's been a while, and I have so many Transformers, I get confused sometimes. But yeah, that's the proper way to go on the back. Makes it look much nicer with the wheel in the back. And I don't know if these are lights or what in the back, fans, lasers, but they connect a little bit different. This has a couple little posts. This one just uses the same post, and they put a little mold thing in there. And so I guess you could put that on top. I mean, it is a military vehicle, so having it have some kind of weapon on top is not a huge stretch, but that just looks, having the bayonet thing is a little bit messed up. Actually rolls pretty good. Of course, the original Outback rolls, because he's used to being on rougher roads. All right, 2 more left to go. And we got another packaged one. It is not Cheetor. It's not the Knight. I even forget the name of that gray one that they put out, but yeah, this is a knockoff, undersized in this case, of the original Cheetor. And in the packaging, which has Starscream on, I don't know why it has Starscream on it, but it shows you a bunch of really cool ones on the back. And I have tried to get some of these because they're called Zoomorphism. This is a Beast Warrior, but like I used to have Break, and they have a version of Break, but I can't seems to be out of stock. Same thing with the Hair, which is Stampy. And yeah, so I wish I could get all of this line just for those guys, but comes right out of the package. Now, they tape in the gun, not the figure. And as it was in the package, it was actually mistransformed because the feet weren't out and you're supposed to turn them around. So he goes like that. He also has the tail gun, which does not actually flip over. So he's basically giving everybody some tail. Nice guy, I guess. If you need some tail, come to this guy. He does not appear to have the gut gun. So here is my original Cheetor. He's actually the Japanese version from way back in the day because I couldn't find the US one at a reasonable price. But as you can see, undersized, he is about 4 inches tall. Original Cheetor, about 5. So he's got some height on him. And of course, his tail gun actually flips. Woohoo! So this guy I think was $9. And he's like a younger cousin, something like that. As far as the plastic, it feels knee. And you can almost do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, toes up. But he's got pretty much the same posability for the most part as the original Cheetor. So the knee can go forward, go to the back. The arms can go all the way around. He does not have the mutant face, but the head turns and he could just, which if you turn it too much, he can't see shit. So the arms, they kind of, yeah, same posability, swiveling out, full range of motion. Yeah, pretty much the same as this guy. Now, the back mode, same amount of kibble. So let's check out his beast mode. And I'm definitely going to compare beast modes. Now, transformation seems identical, but I will say that because of the quality of the plastic, I'm being kind of careful because I don't want to break it. I mean, obviously that would tell you something about the quality of the piece, but this is mine. So, you know, just suffice to say, it does not feel super sturdy, feels a little flimsy. Legs don't feel too bad, but the arms definitely feel a little cray-cray. Now, it pretty much transforms all the way. I think one of the arms is kind of, need to turn it a little bit more to get it to get into the proper place. It does have a tendency to pop apart on the back a little bit, but otherwise, he's pretty much Cheetor in miniature. About a little over 2 inches tall, I suppose about the 3 inches, and lengthwise 4 inches compared to 5.5. But there you go. All right, this is getting too long. Let's do our final one, our bonus, and we can wrap this up. Our final one is this version of, probably should have had him in robot mode before, but it's a knockoff version of Optimus / Ultra Magnus. At least I was told it was a knockoff. It may be a bit of a mystery because this guy has Autobot symbols on his shoulders. However, I doubt this is a real one because I've noticed that the fists are the wrong way. Yes, the thumbs are at the bottom. So this is a knockoff, which is very much trying to pretend to be a real thing, but failing. Here's the real thing. But it does have the same weapons, and the fists don't turn, so them being the wrong way is not something that I can fix unless I decide to try to remove the screw on the side. But yes, very similar to the Ultra Magnus or Optimus Prime from the classic line. The head does turn. It has a light piping on the back. But yeah, if this is an official one, then someone somehow screwed it up. I don't think it's official. I think it's an attempt to appear official. And I gotta say, these things are floppy. I got this at a local toy shop, loose, so I don't know what it's supposed to come like, but as far as if it comes with a box, I've seen things like this on AliExpress. I'll try to link to them. So, but I do have to say, the joints are kind of loose. At least this arm is loose. They're both loose. Optimus is much better. It's a neat looking toy. It's got the blue and the white, so it's kind of almost like the Diaclone-ish version of Ultra Magnus, but same type of posability. Full Jean-Claude Van Damme, bends at the knee, can do a superhero pose, superhero landing. Doesn't really twist at the waist, twists on the upper torso, so twists at the chest. But the arms can go all the way around. He's got the swivel. Same posability as a classic Prime. Head turns as we already demonstrated, just slightly inferior quality. The plastic doesn't feel too bad. I just have to maybe figure out some ways to tighten up the joints a little bit, but not too much. But there's that one, and of course, it transforms, as you saw, just like the original Prime from the classic line. And there he is. I wouldn't be surprised if I could put the same armor that I have from the add-on kit on him to make him look like, you know, Ultra Magnus. Rolls pretty well, so I'll put links to this guy. This one's been beat up a little bit, so maybe you would, getting a new one, have a little bit better luck, have better joints. We can hope, and hopefully the smokestacks would stay on better. So there you have it. I'm not gonna bother transforming him. 10 knockoffs, and I did promise a bonus, and I'm not gonna go back on my word. Our bonus looks like it might be a knockoff of a deluxe Insecticon. It is not. This is actually one of the not used as a deluxe Insecticon from the Japanese armored insect line, beetle something, but it's basically a one of the molds that they did not use. I got it at a toy show for like 20 bucks. Finding this might not be easy, but yeah, he's got the same lack of posability as most of the line. I mean, actually, it's not too bad because the legs can move back and forth, the arms can move. The head turns a little. I don't think it's supposed to turn that much, and the arms can go out to the side. I did not get his weapon. I actually called afterwards after I did research that the vendor had the weapon in another case, and I haven't been able to find that vendor again, so hopefully. But yeah, he is a not used for the Insecticons. He looks kind of like one of the deluxe Insecticons, but he's actually not. Let me show you his alt mode. I'm trying to be very careful with this because it is a very old toy, but it's actually in very good shape, especially considering, you know, the price I paid for it. I don't think the vendor necessarily knew. I didn't even know until I got home. There we go. It is a, I don't know what kind of bug that is, but he's basically an unused Japanese battle transforming toy that, yeah, they did not use in the line, but back up for the deluxe Insecticons. So just wanted to share that with you. It's a pretty cool toy. Hopefully I'll find the gun at some point. That's it. Tons of wacky knockoffs. Some of them are kind of cool. Some of them not so much. Some of them I definitely recommend. But links in the description for all these. And I'll even put links so you can find the originals too, if you'd like. Because I'm nuts like that. But while you're debating over getting knockoffs or originals, you can check this video out over here, which is actually the knockoffs that are in the same as this line. Enjoy. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am. We'll see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.